Hello, this is my second London video this year, and this time with a bit of a different view of the city. London is cluttered with places where important famous people were born, lived, worked and got statues erected in their honour. And quite frankly, it can get a bit too much. But there are also refreshingly different monuments. For example, this wonderfully confusing plug in Neil's yard, which actually initiates a not unimportant number of blogs to state that the filmmaker or director Monty Python lived here. Another very different monument can be found in Postman's Park near St Paul's Cathedral, where the painter George Frederick Watts finally realized his long-kept dream to honor unknown heroes. In 1900, the park became the location for his memorial to heroic self-sacrifice, a memorial to perfectly ordinary people who died while saving the lives of others.
So don't be afraid to fall, or you never fall at all. No, you never fall at all. And don't find a reason not to weep, or you never find your sleep. No, you never find your sleep.
Postman's Park, named after its popularity amongst workers from the nearby General Post Office who like to spend their lunch break there, is a relatively small park, crammed between huge buildings, yet managing to be a calm, pleasant space right in the middle of the city. For me, this is one of the most impressive things about London. As colossal and busy as the city is, there is never a shortage of peaceful places when you need a break. Even in the inner city, in the busiest places, there are always little green spaces where you can take a break. And there is no nonsense about don't walk on the grass or something.
And what if birds fell in love like we do? The skies would be empty, made of invisible winds. And what if fish found they had emotions? Suddenly our oceans would become blinded by things.
By the way, if you're amongst those people who have always wondered how the British get their perfect lawns with the perfect green grass, I can clear that up for you. They simply build them. One thing that adds to the beauty is that London is quite hilly, so it is actually not that rare to find a green space with a view.
There's something to be said for getting into bed and covering your head and waiting for whatever comes your way, and in the end, when you've lost all your friends, they're never coming back.
Another secret retreat of the metropolis are the cemeteries. Hybrids between inhabited space and nature, crammed with the most peaceful company you'll ever find. And in London, so different from the well-kept, neatly trimmed German ones or the stone and marble deserts of French cemeteries. When you hear London, the first thing that comes to your mind probably isn't Woodlands. And visiting London, you wouldn't expect to find yourself trying to blaze a trail through a field of stinging nettles. And yet, I did. At Marion Park in Greenwich, a delightfully wild space filled with rampant greenery and paths through the brushwood. Talking about woodland, yeah, there are woods in London. You just have to visit Hampstead. Nature everywhere. From inside of this bookshop, that's cute, isn't it? That's the wall painting in the children's reading corner. Yes, I frequent children's book sections. Yeah, woods, so I'm talking about Hampstead Heath, of course, which is probably my second favorite place in London. Oh, newsflash. Yeah, I always thought that Hampstead Heath was a park, and it is, with ponds, meadows, whole fields. But there is also a wood. And one of the most beautiful moments I ever spent in London was on Hampstead Heath. And one of the best ideas I ever had was to get up at 5:30 to be there at dawn. civilization and also back in time, because I was actually time traveling in the video. You've just seen footage from my August and October visits this year. So back in August I concluded my visit with another culture thingy, attending the opening of my sister's exhibition at the Gallery of London Glassblowing, seizing the chance to annoy her by playing with her artwork. Always fun. Mind you, when she has to do kinetic sculptures, duh. So much for this year, but with several visits to London per year, there might just be another London video in my future. You just wait and see. Bye. And if you'd like to know more about the exhibition I attended and the two artists, both winners of the Durwood Award, one of which is my older sister, I encourage you to click here to watch the video The Durwood Makers by London Glassblowing. Want to watch a few outtakes in between? Another very different monument can be found in Postman's Park near St Paul's Cathedral, where the painter George Frederick Watts, much better in German. Where the painter George Frederick Watts finally realized his Where the painter George Frederick Watts finally... Can I just call him George Watts? Where the painter George Frederick... Near St Paul's Cathedral, where the painter George Frederick Watts... Near St Paul's Cathedral, where the painter George Frederick Watts finally realized his... No. Well, that's just nerves now. In Postman's Park, near St Paul's Cathedral, where the painter George Frederick Watts... Now I need the rest of the sentence.